power to transform your soul, the way the music that's happening here does, for a very simple reason. This is the place of reality. For better or for worse, all of the terrible things are happening here in Jewish life, or most of them, and most of the truly powerful, historically transformative events are happening here as well. This is the testing place for the power of the Jewish story. And we're seeing it happening culturally in terrible ways. We all know what's happening in Israeli culture. That's just a disaster. But also in truly redemptive ways as well. All at the same time, because that's Israel. The last point that I'd like to make about the power of peoplehood is in how we speak to the rest of the world. It's certainly true that the diaspora so far has produced far more Nobel Prize winners than Israel has. And individually, maybe the diaspora has produced, certainly in the last 100 years or so, figures who were able to transform the world in ways that we have not yet done here. But the advantage that we have when we are in our land over the diaspora is that we speak to the rest of the world as a collective only from here. When we are in the diaspora, we can affect the world as individuals. As far as I can see, there is no great spiritual movement that came out of the Jewish people in the diaspora that changed the world. If you think about Israel, the prophets, Christianity, and I would also make the argument that Kabbalah, which was a movement that has roots both in the diaspora and here, certainly Kabbalah is beginning to draw, not always in the highest way, beginning to draw the interest and attention of parts of the non-Jewish world. So that when we speak to the world out of our essence of who we are as a people, that can only happen here. And I personally have no problem at all claiming Christianity for the sake of this Zionist argument. We have transformed much of the world as a Jewish people only when we were based here. And if we have any chance of transforming parts of the world, transforming spiritually the way humanity conceives of itself and the cosmos, I believe that ultimately that only happens when we are in our land for all kinds of reasons, both in terms of our self-confidence, in terms of what happens when we are a people collectively, and also in terms of the power of this land spiritually. But that's something that also we'll leave for now. Okay, so that's in terms of trying to create an updated understanding of the relevance of Israel and Zionism for enhancing Jewish peoplehood in our time. The next area to examine is the question of Jewish self-identity. And let me speak for a moment about Israel and Jewish power, and why we are seeing the emergence of a sudden nostalgia for something that Jews, after the Shoah, never thought Jews would ever long for again, which is powerlessness. And we're seeing that again expressing itself in all kinds of ways. The celebration of the marginal Jew, the alienated Jew, who as an individual creates change, can have an impact on certainly Western culture. My sense is that there is a deeper reason for this sudden outbreak of longing for Jewish powerlessness. I would say there are two reasons. The positive, the reason that I will give I'll give the benefit of the doubt to the new diasporists, is that there is a profound shame among many Jews, to one extent or another, about the occupation. A profound sense of tragedy, of an anger at Israel for depriving many Jews, and I say this with a kind of grudging respect for the diasporists. There is a sense that Israel cheated many Jews out of the core of their Jewish identity, which was the Shoah. For many, and we underestimate that, for many Jews, the Shoah, the sense of having been a victim in a positive way, a sense of the sense of responsibility that one feels as a victim for other victims. Israel has done much to erode that sense, and we will do the argument that we need to have intellectually and spiritually with the diasporas. We will do ourselves an injustice if we don't understand the profound wound that Israel has inflicted on many Jews because of the occupation. So that's giving the diasporists their due. I think there's another much more negative or much less noble motive that's coming into play, and I don't just mean the fact, as Leon Wieseltier wrote about Tony Jude, that Israel has made his cocktail party conversation much more difficult. But I think that there's something that happened here that we need to look at, and that is that for the better part of 2,000 years, there was absolutely no glory in being a victim. Christianity and Islam related to the Jew as victim, as proof that God's love had passed from the Jewish people to them. The fact that, and this became in Christianity certainly, in Catholicism until Vatican II, this was a central pillar of Catholic theology, that we are the new Israel, and the love of God has passed from the old Israel, and the proof of it is, look how debased the Jews are. Look what victims they are. And clearly God does not love the victim. It was a strange theology for a faith based on crucifixion. and to the credit of the Catholic Church, they belatedly realize that today. Many of Catholicism's leading theologians realize exactly that point, that the Holocaust proves for them how beloved the Jewish people really are, because what it means is that the enemies of God, the pagan enemies of God, chose the Jews as their primary enemy. And for Christians, for religious people, that is a kind of badge of honor.